I think about 48 people here. Why don't we get started? So again, welcome to our second webinar of digital marketing tips and tricks from your digital service squad. Hello, everybody. And today we're talking about local SEO and Google My Business. So I'm going to share my screen over here and get this presentation going. There we go. So basically what we wanted to do was really focus on an SEO workshop that could help to potentially put to make it easy for people. Sorry, I'm just admitting to the webinar and getting a little distracted. But when it comes to SEO, a lot of people get overwhelmed, and it's really understandable because there is tons of information out there. There's so many things that you could be doing to enhance your SEO. But what we know is that it's about competition, and when we focus on local SEO specifically, we can narrow in on what it is that we're trying to accomplish. We can eliminate a lot of that competition just by focusing on local, and by honing in on a few things that you can be doing, it can make it a lot less daunting. And hopefully that's what we can help you with today. So this webinar, of course, is presented by the South Georgian-based Small Business Enterprise Center, and by myself, Ben Frisch, with Digital Main Street as your South Georgian-based Digital Service Squad, and featuring Jan Farragon from Be Visible Web Design. So for myself, my company is called Be Fresh Media, and I am the South Georgian Bay the South Georgian Bay Digital Service Squad representative. And essentially this is a program called Digital Main Street. If you haven't heard about it, I'm going to tell you more throughout the presentation, but essentially it's free digital marketing resources and support for businesses in the area. And so with my role, I'm focused on supporting businesses in South Georgian Bay. And if anyone has any questions, needs any help, you can contact me. This is a free service that is going to be going on for the next few months. So you can reach out at any time. Here's Jan Farragon. I'll let her introduce herself.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Good morning. I'm Jan Farragon. I'm with Be Visible Web Design. I've been designing websites for over a decade now. Started on a really big website, a school system website in the United States, and now do websites for small and medium-sized businesses, mostly local businesses. Yeah, and I'll be talking about on-site SEO.
Perfect. So with that, let's take it away with on-site SEO. Sorry, I guess that was in the middle of the screen, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I was going to start by mentioning, some of you that are older may know or remember, or even some younger people, Google first started, originally search engines just pulled up every website. It was more like a directory. There wasn't a lot of sense to what came up. And then Google was innovative in that they started pulling up the sites that were getting the most hits first. And that is still a really, really important part of SEO. So you want people hitting your site however you can get them doing that and staying on your site, looking at your site. You want to be a useful site. So we'll move to the next slide. Okay, so building an SEO friendly website, there's, you can go back to the previous one, Ben. There's basically three important components. You want search terms and keywords and you want to put them where you can on your website. So you want to use those terms that people are using to find businesses like you, and you want to put them in all sorts of different places. I'll tell you about those places. Page speed is getting important in SEO. So you want to optimize your site so it doesn't take forever to load. And finally, and what I think is always important to keep at the top of your mind is you want useful, attractive, easy to find, and engaging content. Okay, so sort of going back to what I was saying, think about what people are looking for online and what you want to be found for. So I've been on a lot of sites, we've been on a lot of websites, and to me, there's two different approaches to SEO. There's the really hard SEO driven website that's built based on what people are looking for. And then there's the websites that are built based on what the client or the business is offering. And then you look at how you can make it SEO friendly. I find that the second type of site is a better site in the long term and actually does sometimes end up ranking higher long term. And if it's just SEO driven, if you're just trying to get people clicking on your site, you've all seen sites like that. They kind of feel soulless, right? So really think about what you want to sell, who you want to sell to, who's your ideal client, and what are some of the search terms that people are using. Now, especially with voice search, you want to think about the questions people are asking, Alexa or Siri, whoever, and answering those questions on your website. So you can do that just by common sense, or if you click through, Ben, next slide. You can use some very useful tools to do that. So we usually start with Google keyword planning with a new website. And if you haven't done any SEO, and even if it's been a while, you can use Google Keyword Planner. So you need a Google Ads account to use the Keyword Planner. That's the address ads.google.com. You'll need to sign up for an account. And once you sign up for an account, this is what the dashboard looks like. And you'll find the Keyword Planner by going to that circle there, the wrench that says Tools. Click on that and you'll get this drop-down menu, and then you'll see where the arrow is pointing, that's the Keyword Planner. So you click on that. I was going to do a demo, but in the interest of time, I'll just explain to you what happens. You type in a keyword. So say you were selling shoes. So you type in shoes, and then you can specify if you want to market to all of Canada. You could find out what people are searching for in all of Canada. But if you wanted to market just locally to Collingwood, you can actually see what people are looking for locally and what search terms people are looking for. I'll give you an example of a client we worked for. We did a website for a local painter, and we looked at search terms that people were looking for related to painting and wallpaper, that sort of thing. He also hangs wallpaper, and people were looking for brick wallpaper. That came up really surprisingly high in search terms locally at that time. I didn't know that, he didn't know that. So we actually put that on his main page. You know, I do everything from painting your house to hanging brick wallpaper. So we use that exact term. So sometimes you'll find surprising things when you look at what people are searching for, and then sometimes it is what you think based on common sense. I did mention Google Analytics. We could do a whole seminar on Google Analytics, but if you've had your site up for a while and for SEO maintenance, you can see where people are coming from to get to your site by using Google Analytics. I put a link to a useful article there that will be in the slides after the presentation about how to use Google Analytics. If you do go on it, one of the most important things that are useful tools I find is what's called acquisition on the left-hand side. And it tells you if people are coming to your site from social media, from a referral from another website, or you know, direct search, whatever. And then you can improve your on-site SEO based on that. Okay, next slide. So once you get those keywords, either by thinking about what people are searching for that you want to find you, or looking at Google Keyword Planner, these are the places you can put them. Most obvious is in the text on your website. So when possible, you want to use those exact terms. that people are searching for, but sometimes it's awkward. So you just be conversational and be useful in your text. This is a client we are recently finishing a website for, ChrisCore. They're a local technology company. Gary and Kyla are the owners, but anyways, they're offering cloud services is one of the services they have, cloud transitioning your files, etc., to cloud. So they did a really nice job with their text content of putting those services in their text and putting it high up. The higher up the page, the more important the search engine thinks it is, especially if it's in the first paragraph. And also those headings that you use on your website. So you see ChrisCore, we have other headings farther down the page. They look at headings as more important than is in terms of telling them what the website and the page is about. Google doesn't know what your site is about unless you tell them what it's about. You know, there's no magic there. So that's what you're doing with search engine optimization. So there's other places to put keywords. Next slide. Oh, so warning, I do have a warning. Don't overuse the same terms over and over again. So for example, if ChrisCore did cloud transitioning 50 times throughout their website, that's called keyword stuffing, and you actually get penalized for that because Google tries to feed out those sites, filter out those sites that are just trying to get people to hit on their site and not be a useful site. Google's algorithm really is designed to present users with useful sites. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so another place to put it is website images. So this is another example from ChrisCore. We use this image on the site. One thing they also do is remote working support. So they help businesses transition, especially at this time, to being remote working businesses. So you can see I put it in the alternative text. That's something that used to be or was designed for visually impaired viewers of websites. You need to use alternative text that is related to the image. So if that was a picture of a dog, I wouldn't put remote working support. It needs to be relevant to your site and hopefully to image that you're presenting. It's especially important if you have, like, say your image says click here. So for the visually impaired, they're not gonna know what that image is unless you tell them in the alternative text. And alternative text is fed into SEO as well. Your title of your image should never be, if you can help it. Sometimes you're uploading a lot of files and you can't help it, but it should never be like IMG253, right? You're losing a good opportunity for SEO. It should describe something about your website in that image. And then you can add, if you have time, more search terms in the description of the image. This is WordPress. Other builders have similar features for you to change titles and stuff. Okay, next slide. Okay, so meta titles and descriptions. You've probably heard this when people talk about SEO. It's not complicated. If you don't tell search engines what to look for or what to present to the viewer in search, they'll just pull it from your web page. So you can actually tell search engines what to show people. So this is Yoast, is a commonly used WordPress plugin for SEO. Rhymes with toast. And you can see here, this is for MintCon, a local contractor. It has the page title and then it has an excerpt, and you can actually define in Yoast what that excerpt says. So you would put search terms and you would put like maybe some call to actions in that thing, or describe what you're going to provide. It's a really good opportunity there. You could go to the next slide, Ben. So what I like about Yoast is it makes it really easy to see and change those titles and descriptions that come up in search for your pages. It also gives you scores, and these scores, these traffic lights, are basically a list of things you can do to improve SEO on that page. One of the things I don't like about it is sometimes it doesn't seem to find things like the builder that we use. It doesn't pick up the alt tags. I know that page does have alt tags on the images. It tells me that it doesn't. You define a keyword in Yoast. So this page was about kitchens and bathrooms. That there's not enough content or images right now to really justify splitting those off and having the client click around. Maybe eventually when we get more photos. So we did combine them, but from a search engine perspective, they don't like that it's about two things. And it tells you that you don't always have those exact terms, and it gives you a poor score if you don't have exact terms. And Yoast, I feel like Google's a little more forgiving in their search if you don't put kitchens and bathrooms all the time on the page. Like if you just have kitchen and bathroom in different sentences, I think it's a little more forgiving. So those scores, just keep in mind, you don't need a perfect score, but it is a good guideline to get you better SEO. Yoast is a really good tool. And I'll show you, the next slide is just another quick look at Yoast. Something that's relatively new to SEO is readability. So you may have heard, like certain text is like grade 6, I think is the ideal for readability for a wide audience. Don't put in too many complicated sentences, long sentences. They like that transition words that you see we got a red score for. They like words like that bridge sentences together, which I find sometimes doesn't always make it more readable, but they like if you say, firstly, we do this, then we do this is the way you start your next sentence. So you're always bridging ideas. Those are transition words, and you can look it up if you're interested about what transition words they're looking for, but apparently they like that in terms of readability, and readability feeds also into your SEO. There's so many things that don't get tripped up, but keep all of these things in mind. Okay, next slide. Okay, so page speed. Now that more people are using Google Page Speed Insights, it's something where you can get a score and see what to fix. Again, there's that little push and pull sometimes between design and perfect SEO. The web builder that we like to use is very easy for us to build with. It's very easy for clients to do edits with afterwards. It's user-friendly. It's called Divi. It does slow the site down a bit and hurts us a little bit in Page Speed Insights, but I feel like that's a good trade-off for what we're doing. Certainly what you want to do is compress your images. You can compress them on site. WordPress, we use a plugin called Smush a lot, which you can set to compress images on upload. Most cell phones are taking images now anywhere between 3,000 and 5,000 pixels wide. That is way too wide for a website, and it's just going to slow your site down. The largest we usually use is 1,500 pixels wide for those really large images. And then the smaller images will use about 1,000 pixels wide, and that's plenty. You could even go smaller for some. Use a JPEG instead of a PNG. The only cases where we use PNG now are like a logo if we needed a transparent background. If you need a transparent background, you don't need a transparent background in your images PNG. Change it to JPEG because it's a better compression and smaller file. Loads quicker. Limit use of video backgrounds and automatic animations. We've only done 3 sites with video backgrounds, even though I love the effect, and all those sites are home or real estate related. And again, I feel like the trade-off of the wow factor and the conversion. One of them's a contractor, one of them is has a chalet. Actually, 2 of them have chalet rentals. And I feel like that wow factor of getting the house tour right away in the background when they visit the site is worth it. But certainly for most sites, like on our site, a web design site, I wouldn't use a video background because that slowing of the page speed and that hurt of your SEO is not worth it. Automatic animations, by that I mean, you know, when the text flies in from the left or slides down, whatever, we have started to turn those off on most sites. Only sometimes we'll use them for emphasis if it's a cool effect, but keep in mind that slowing down your site. So you want to turn those off when you can. Limit integrations and plugins, third-party integrating plugins. So for an example, pulling Google reviews. And we do that for some websites, but that by putting that on the website is going to Google, which is a third party, pulling those reviews. and displaying them on the site live. We have a spa we did a website for, and they really wanted their Instagram feed. They feel like it's worth it, but you have to realize every time you do pull from a third party, which is called an integration, then you are slowing down your site. So just make sure that is making your site more useful and it's worth it. Good website hosting, I can't emphasize this enough. You don't know you have a bad host until you have a problem, but it can hurt your page speed. You should have managed WordPress if you're using a WordPress host instead of the traditional cPanel. That's going to be a little bit faster. And a good host, in my opinion, shouldn't charge a lot more for a faster site. They should just have good website hosting to begin with. We use Flywheel, I really like them, but don't go cheap on your website host because it will cost you often in speed and in other ways. Okay, next slide. Okay, so sort of coming back to the beginning, just really keep in mind, you want a useful website. If people come to your site and stay there and look around, that is going to really help your search engine. The way Google started getting lots of hits, if people are sharing your site, going back and again, that is really going to boost your website. We found once we started doing blog posts, tip blog posts and doing DIY YouTube videos, we really boosted our search engine ranking for our personal website. So keep in mind, that is the most important thing you can do, is get people visiting your site and engaging with your site. That's going to really rank you high. I like to say, don't let SEO be the tail and wag the dog. The tail is certainly an important part of the dog. You don't want to lose that. But see, this guy's keeping the dog nice and steady. Keep your site focused on what you want it to be, and then add all those nice SEO components to make it rank high. And the third point, just make things easy to find. Your navigation should be clear. A lot of government sites say they want the least number of clicks to find content possible. I think that's good to keep in mind. You don't want people clicking 3 pages deep to get to what they want. Okay. And that's it.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. And if I could just add too, I think going back to the keywords. So again, like trying to keep things simple. I find a lot of times, like you kind of touched on it in that thinking about what people are searching for, right? So really narrowing that down, I think, is important. So that I think that's, you know, the first step to preventing yourself from getting overwhelmed, because you can go crazy thinking about the millions of keywords. But really, when it comes to local search terms, it can be easy to cut those down in terms of like, what is the service that you provide and where are you? So if you're focused on like a certain geographical area, like coffee in Collingwood, right? Or something like that. Like, whereas opposed to if you were to focus on trying to rank for just coffee, then you're competing on a global scale, and it can be a lot more daunting and a lot more difficult for sure.
Exactly. You need to tell people where you are on your website, and it's useful if you're trying to get Collingwood customers to mention Collingwood in your text. Also, I see in Instagram profiles, a lot of times people don't mention where they are, and they may be like a fitness thing, facility, but they're not telling you where they are. So just remember to do that.
Right. One other thing I wanted to mention too, another example I like to use with people when talking about SEO is to take a look at recipe websites, because I find they are like a masterclass in SEO, right? When you think about it, like oftentimes the title of the recipe is exactly or very close to what you searched for, and the title is there, it's very clear. Then they write a huge long blog post about like why it's the best tomato soup, or basically rationalizing or going on and on about the ingredients. And those are all, if you look closely, like you'll see all the keywords that they're using. They're being very strategic about their writing. There's tons of photos in them. And then when you finally get down to the recipe, you're like, oh yeah, I just saw a bunch of ads because that's their main goal. But you can see from that, like, it works. They're doing an amazing job at drawing people in, at ranking high for those searches, and getting people to click on them.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I quickly forgot to mention was outbound link to useful outbound links. That helps.
Sorry, say that again. You kind of broke up.
Oh, sorry. Like if you include useful outbound links, especially to a website that's getting a lot of hits. So if you're a member of an organization, putting their link on your website, again, don't make it up or irrelevant. But yeah, if you have links that go to outbound sites, that helps your SEO.
Perfect. Great. And then, so I see we do have a couple of questions coming in on the chat, and we will get to those. We'll save some time at the end to talk about that. So I'm going to take it away and talk about off-site SEO. So we did the most complicated stuff, I think up front, and then we're hopefully, keep this fairly simple, straightforward with regards to things like Google My Business. So when you think about search engine optimization, or just being found, often that first interaction with your company or your brand is with your Google My Business listing. But just a caveat here that you will see there is limited functionality. They have a bunch of notifications posted when you go into your dashboard right now. And that's, of course, due to COVID-19 pandemic. Their staff is slightly reduced, and I think they're, a little slow to respond to these things. But we'll talk a little bit about that more later. I'm going to kind of approach this from mostly a standpoint of, not worrying about that right now. So things that we should be doing in the future, maybe when things settle down. But we can continue working on these. It might just take a while for updates to show up. But that being said, so you want to make sure that your profile is completely set up. So making sure that all your info is up to date, including COVID-19 changes. Your name, address, and phone number should match all other listings. And so that includes everything from your Facebook page, your website, your LinkedIn, anywhere you've got that information, you want to make sure it's all up to date and matching. Your photos, you want to make sure there's lots of photos in there, and there's lots of opportunity to show different things. There's your cover, your logo. You want to show off your interior, exterior, definitely your team and your staff, and 360 photos. And there's more opportunity there as well. The reviews, again, yeah, ask and respond to reviews. Reviews are really important. But again, those are completely shut off right now. So hopefully that will be back online soon. Two other things with Google My Business listings that I think are highly underutilized is that you can add products and services, and you can create posts that include offers, what's new, and events. And I'll talk more about those in a second, but I want to show just really quickly someone I've been working with, or I have worked with in the past, is a company in Creemore called Legom 142. And so they're just a small retailer there. And just to give you a sense of how this looks, you can see where the products are. I think it's really awesome in that, it's it's almost like window shopping, right? It's a kind of the first view into what you offer in order to draw people in, and you can include photos, more information, and this actually links directly to their e-commerce platform where you can buy them. Now, I wouldn't say upload your entire inventory here. Again, think about it like window shopping. You want to maybe put some of your high interest items, your top sellers here, to draw people in. And the same goes for posts. Here's how they show up on your My Business listing. And it's another great way, when people click on it, they can see it as a feed almost, with all the different offers, promotions, and things that they've posted, which is really great. And again, I think this is really underutilized, and I highly recommend people explore that, especially now, if you're moving or have moved your business to e-commerce, definitely check out that section of your Google My Business listing. Now, let's go back to here. So when it comes to posting too, I will add that right now, again, Google is really on top of the COVID-19 crisis. And their suggestion is to create a post about how things might be changing in your business. And so, I mean, this is a little bit off topic of SEO kind of, but it's really important right now, especially just in general, talking about Google My Business, that you do create a post. So if you're temporarily closed, if you've changed your hours, or if you've made changes to how you're operating, which you probably have, then this is a great place to create that update so that people can see how things are changing. And I've included a link to the support article there. And a couple people have been asking if they're going to get a copy of this, and yes, we will send you a link at the end to download this so that you can get those links directly. So events is another fantastic and, in my opinion, underutilized component to the Google My Business listing, because Google is really taking on Facebook, I think, in that traditionally Facebook has dominated the event kind of marketplace, or event searches, and they've included now the events that you can upload through your Google My Business dashboard. And now when people search for something like this example, I did a search for events in Collingwood, and you have the ability to organize them by day, week, month, that kind of thing, and as well as on the map, kind of move around and see what are the events happening around me. And this is amazing. I mean, it's if you're running events, or like in our case, a webinar, it especially right now, I mean, that would be highly appropriate to get that up on the Google My Business events page. So, and if you were ever wondering, how those listings are showing up, that's how. So you can do it straight through your Google My Business listing dashboard. Also, just a note, you can get a free or a $100 advertising credit through your Google My Business account as well. And I mean, often, or not often, but usually they have you spend up to 100 or 50, I think, to claim that credit. But it's a great way to, get you started advertising your business through that platform, and it's a good offer. And I'm just mentioning it as a point of note there. And then additionally, so moving away from Google My Business, it's really important as well that you look at other opportunities to improve your SEO. And ways you can do that is through, creating any opportunity you have to fill out a business directory, listing on sites like Yelp, TripAdvisor, Shop Local. There are a lot of those. Like there's a Shop Collingwood, Shop Stainer, all those kinds of things, as well as any BIA or local chamber websites. They often have business listings, so you can often do a quick search for those types of listings in your area. And as well as professional associations are also usually a valuable link as well. I think Jan mentioned, with the ranking of the website, it's good to send good traffic to your website. So if it's coming from a reputable source like an association, and that kind of thing, then it can really help you out in a lot of ways. Social media profiles are often are helpful as well. So again, you want to make sure that those profiles are filled out with all your correct information, that you have links going to your website, and you want to make sure too, because Google can see that that you're engaging with people, that if they are clicking through from social media, that they're sticking around, they're finding content that's useful. So sites like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube are obviously most popular. But if there's any of those profiles that you have, definitely make sure that you are linking to your website, and that's going to help. It's going to help too in the search. I'll show again too, actually, if you didn't catch, when I did a search for LIGO 142 here in Creemore, on the left hand side, you'll notice that the entire search is pretty much dominated by their business or things that are directly related to their business. So that's where Facebook is really handy. They've got a Shop Creemore listing. This is their other company that's right next door to them. So you can see how those different elements all help in that, you want to just dominate that page as much as you can and avoid other businesses or even other confusing or non-relevant listings to end up in there. And finally, just with reviews as well, again, you do want to ask and reply to reviews. I'll share a story about a business that I was working with as well, called Collingwood Kombucha. And what was really interesting about this one was that I was doing a search to see how they were ending up, and they are they're a wholesaler of kombucha, and they have different retailers that sell their product in the area. And so I typed kombucha near me to see how they were showing up. And Collingwood Kombucha, the wholesaler, was in the first 2 or 3 listings on the map, but then the next one was one of their retailers. And I determined that the only reason that retailer who sold their product, the only reason they were showing up in that search was because someone had left a review of that location, of that store, and mentioned Collingwood Kombucha in their review. So it had tied it back to the company. And I thought that was really amazing. And it's just a great example of how valuable those reviews are. And just, note that if you are asking for reviews, make sure you let people know that, you try and talk about the services specifically that you received, because that's going to be more helpful in putting you into those searches. And finally, I just wanted to mention, so as part of the Digital Main Street program, that portal is still active and live. It's at digitalmainstreet.ca. Anyone can register. There's lots more training, lots of resources still available there. And it's going to be there, you know, they're not taking it down at all. So if you haven't already, be sure to register at digitalmainstreet.ca for more resources, and follow the Small Business Enterprise Center for updates on more upcoming webinars. And that's it. So we're going to take a few questions. We've got a few in the chat already. So we'll start with this one. Jan, someone's asking, do blog posts need to be a certain length to be useful?
Yeah, Yoast will tell you that. I think the length is 300 words. They're long, a little bit longer, apparently ranks higher. So don't do them too short. I guess maybe they think they don't have good information. I have to double check. I'm thinking it's 300 words, around there anyway.
Sweet. And then someone's asking, do you have any recommendations or advice when it comes to search bars on your website to help with user experience and SEO?
Yeah, unless you're like a big
oh, sorry, I think you're breaking up again there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so if you're a big site, then maybe use those drop downs, like you drop down. I try to avoid them now on smaller sites because I find they're not very useful, especially on mobile. So always be thinking about the mobile navigation experience. So we reserve that top menu bar for the few most important items, and then often put the other links as icons or whatever buttons on the page. And then sometimes when you go to that top heading, it does give you another click, but so you go to services and then you list your services. And then if they want lots more detail, they can get there then. And if you do have a lot of links, I would still try to keep that top bar pretty clean. But one way to show them all on every page is to put, you know, those lists of all pages in the footer. We do that quite often too.
Yeah, and I guess as a segue, so they also asked, is there any advice when it comes to site structure?
Yeah, I guess that minimum number of clicks is good. Get people to the information as quick as possible. I mean, in terms of design, look at sites that you find really useful. Get them where they want to go and answer their questions quickly, I guess, and be engaging quickly.
Yeah, and I think they say too that even though single page websites are often trendy, it's maybe not the best, right? In terms of letting Google know what you're offering, whereas having at least a couple of pages to have those headings, right? With here are our services, here are contact, that's tends to be more helpful, correct?
Yeah, certainly from an SEO perspective, splitting out topics is good. There is a little bit of that push and pull between not having people click around all the time. On mobile, people are more tolerant for scrolling, I find, than clicking. So it's a balance, really.
Right. So Gerard's asking, Yelp is expensive versus Google My Business. How would you allocate a monthly budget of, say, $100?
To advertising, digital advertising.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, you could jump in or anybody can jump in. Facebook is pretty good if you have something very local and you're trying to target because it's easy to target. We have used Google Ads for businesses that are in very competitive categories to try to get them up there higher in search. So like contractors in Collingwood, that's very competitive. And we've used Google Ads for that because when people are clicking through those Google Ads and spending time on the contractor's site, that helps get them onto that first page. So sometimes you have to start with those Google Ads. If you do Google Ads, I wouldn't do, if possible, the generic wizard. I would do search specific. So you can call Google or get someone to help you do your Google Ads. And you can tell Google, just show these ads on search instead of everywhere. That tends to work better, at least for competitive categories.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, here's a kind of a follow-up question I think that's really good to consider as well is Kelly's asking, in regards to the credit from Google, do you think it's a good time to use it, or would it be better once your business is back sort of in operation after COVID-19? And yeah, I mean, I think it would really depend on your business, right? And I would say, and not only your business, but sort of what time you have available right now. I think right now, if you're not necessarily seeking new clients, then you might focus more on those kind of things that you can do yourself. So building up your SEO and also just maybe running your social media, to doing things to keep your business top of mind for people. But if you're say a restaurant and you've switched to takeout and you're trying to get the word out and continue working, then I'd say, yeah, absolutely. You'd want to spend some money on advertising, getting that message in front of people as much as you can.
Yeah, and one thing I'd say about using Google advertising, so like if you use that wizard, or if you're not careful with when you want the ad to be shown, you can get a lot of irrelevant clicks and basically waste your money. If you have a very specific sort of niche product, we tried that with something, and we put up Google Ads. So not a lot of people were searching for it. So we didn't, it took a long time for us to use our budget, but we were only getting people looking for that specific thing. So especially now, if you have something you want people to find you for, you could use it, I guess. But just make sure it's not, like shoes, that example I gave you. If you were just selling a certain type of shoe, you wouldn't want all searches for shoes, in Ontario to come to your site and see your ad.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it probably goes without saying that we could do a whole other series of workshops just on Google advertising and Facebook advertising for that matter as well. So next question, is there any benefit to purchasing additional URLs based on keywords to point to your main site?
To tell you the truth, I don't think so. Certainly if you're doing a new business, thinking about what your URL is, like Collingwood Kombucha is good because it tells you it's Collingwood, it tells you they sell kombucha. Describing, using a search term in your URL is great if you can do that. If you haven't done that already, getting people hitting on those other URLs instead of your URL in search. I guess if they click through to your site, eventually you'll get that boost. Maybe if if your URL has nothing to do with what you do, you might purchase something that has a search term. But I don't know truly the full answer to that.
Yeah, I would guess that it would really depend on what your main URL is and what you want to add to that search. But
Yeah,
um,
one thing
sorry,
I
yeah.
would say, Google's pretty good at figuring out cheats. Like they constantly change their algorithm to try to get cheats out. And I don't think that's a cheat, considered a cheat yet, but I wouldn't go by like 50 URLs because to me that starts to feel like a cheat, and Google eventually starts. People were buying directory listings in the past, and then they started penalizing you for just putting your URL anywhere.
Right. Um, so another question, how do we track from Twitter to Facebook to our website, etc.? Um, I'm not sure if that's um, uh, users or links.
To see if somebody's coming from Twitter to your website, you can see that in Google
Yeah,
Analytics for sure.
yeah. Um, and then is there some kind of way to automatically track people that have visited your business to get a notice from Google to please leave a review? They say I've heard there is, but haven't been able to locate it.
There might be, because Google certainly knows who's been to your website, and they do ask if you go to a physical location, they ask for a review. I know MailChimp has a feature where you can select to send to people, send messages to people who are on your mailing list who have recently been to your website. But that particular thing, maybe we can look it up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I've been asked that before, and yeah, I'm not too sure exactly. I mean, I think it does have to do with the user themselves having their like tracking data on or something to be able to receive those notifications. Um, and so, but I mean, we could definitely look into that.
Yeah.
Phyllis, I will follow up with you on that. Um, and someone else is asking, what is the strategy of open new page tab after opening from main page? So I guess, yeah, opening links, I think they're talking about in the new page tab instead of in the current page tab.
Oh, staying on the current page. Um, I'm not sure if that gives you an SEO boost. In terms of usefulness, I don't, as a user, I don't find that too useful. I like to stay in one tab if I'm on one site. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I do tend to recommend that people open links in new tabs, especially, I mean, if it's going to take them off site.
right.
If it's opening something within your website, then you can use that same window. But I would, yeah, my recommendation is if it's jumping to another website, if it's opening something else, then
Yeah.
you do want to keep that original tab open so that they can easily get back without having to hit the back button and that kind of thing.
Yeah, sorry, I thought they meant like on site. But yeah, if you're going off site, I would send them to a new tab for that reason. And then also you're going to build up that time on your site, which time spent on your site is important. So you're not losing, as soon as they go to that link, you're not losing your session.
Right. And sorry, Gerard sent a follow-up, his question about Yelp versus Google My Business. He said, looking for an answer, which would you prioritize over the two? And so, yeah, I mean, that makes a difference for sure. If you're looking at both, I mean, I'm not too sure if, like Yelp has a free listing, correct? For, like generally speaking.
Yeah. I used to live in the States. I found Americans use Yelp more than Canadians. Definitely Google My Business. If you're going to focus on one thing, focus on Google My Business.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. I mean, I've been talking to a lot more business owners who have been using Yelp, and not only Yelp but TripAdvisor, for different services, um, and have noticed a big shift in more and more people coming through Google My Business, to find them. And so, yeah, I would say as well that it's probably a better place to prioritize
Mhm,
right now, at least.
for sure.
Um, and one last question, Phyllis asks, how often should you put pictures on Google My Business? Um, and yeah, I don't know that that it's not like necessarily like Facebook where um, people get that feed all the time. So, I mean, a lot of people will upload, just a series of photos and then leave it, and not touch it. But I definitely recommend updating photos when you get new products in, or if your store changes in any way, either the layout or the um, even seasonally can be nice, just to show off different looks and different things. But yeah, you don't have to worry about it like Facebook or Instagram and upload every day, that kind of thing. Um, do you have anything to add to that, Jan?
Yeah, they do say updating Google My Business photos or posts is useful. It's hard to know exactly how useful that is, but certainly if you have time, especially now, some of you may have some downtime, put some new photos. Like Ben said, those team photos are good. Even on your website, pictures of yourself tend to add to conversion. Anything to make you more familiar is always good. And Google says they like when you update your content on Google My Business.
Yeah, yeah. I think from my understanding is even just letting them know that you're still in operation, that you're active. I think that's really what they're looking for mostly, right?
Yeah.
Um, Perfect. So I think we've answered all the questions there. Um, Here, if anyone has any questions, I'm going to send my email through the chat. Um, and Again, if you have any questions, need any help, the Digital Service Squad program is free, and we're just looking to really help businesses adapt and to adopt digital technologies, especially right now. So if you have any questions, you need any help, please don't hesitate to reach out and get in touch, and we'll do everything we can to help anyone in need. Um, so with that, I would like to say thanks everybody for joining us this morning. The link, if you didn't catch it, was in the chat there, to download the slide deck. We'll post it on our Facebook page as well. But yeah, thanks again. Thank you, Jan, for all your support and input there as well. And oh yeah, Tim says, right, don't forget to promote the next one. It's coming up next Thursday, the 16th. We're going to be doing another webinar, same time, 10 a.m. And that is social media for small business. So, another hot topic, important topic for everyone. Plus, if you haven't caught any of our Facebook Live videos, those are every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And we're, putting out a lot of the same content and trying to help in any way and just connect with everyone to help in this time of need. So, that's it. Jan, you want to say final words?
Yeah, just thank you everyone for listening and coming. We see some familiar faces there and some new faces. And take care. Yeah, good seeing everyone.
Great. Thank you. And we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.